Hey guys, it's Crossroads here. Today I wanted to talk some PayPal. I needed to do an update because they had a lot of news last week. Two things that really got me excited as an investor, and one that I'm not quite excited about, but it's okay. Let's take a look. Now, of course, last week, the numbers for Black Friday through Cyber Monday, they call it the Cyber 5 for PayPal, were announced. And for e commerce, and they do a lot of e commerce with PayPal, these are a very important time. And so numbers that come out that are quite bullish are exciting for the company at large. And certainly PayPal showed that. Now, let me throw this up here. This is from Alex Chris's post earlier in the week, this last week. And he mentions a few things. So, one, of course, is PayPal was the number one most popular payment app, which is actually pretty normal. PayPal is usually up there. There's actually beating out Cash App, which is quite nice to see. Of course, Venmo was there, usually top five or top six during that time. Cyber Monday was their biggest day of the year so far. That's pretty normal as well. What's interesting here is the $7 billion in payments processed and 81,000 per second. Last year, Alex Chris published the numbers, and on Cyber Monday, it was 5.88 billion, not 7 billion. What's really interesting about that is PayPal is, of course, curtailing some of their Braintree volume in exchange for higher margins. We saw that take a hit as far as revenue growth, although their margins did look better in the prior quarter, and that's certainly continuing. So, despite that drag, PayPal managed to do 19% more volume on Cyber Monday this year than last year. 19%. Now, I don't think that PayPal is going to pull out some sort of number in quarter four that they do 19% more revenue growth in the entire quarter. But this is quite exciting, especially when they guided for low to mid single digits of revenue growth, just because of that Braintree shift that they're doing as far as margins. So that was pretty amazing. They also mentioned 70 million transactions at small and mid-sized businesses powered by PayPal. Because Alex Chris does come from that background with Intuit, very focused on the small and mid-sized business. And so he quotes several of those numbers. More than 1.2 million small and mid-sized businesses had their best day in 2024. And this is what I thought was the most important right here. 100,000 plus small and mid-sized businesses made their first sell with PayPal ever, period. They're growing, both active users and also merchants. That wasn't the case a year ago at this time, and Alex Chris has certainly righted the ship there. And then there's some other notes as well. Double-digit growth in buy now, pay later transactions. That's certainly big this time of year. And of course, double-digit growth in pay with Venmo as well. And so they're basically growing in all facets. They're doing well, and it's a lot of different things that they're cooking with. Now, what I thought was even more interesting, of course, is the overall results for Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, these Cyber 5 days, specifically what it says about mobile. Now, Jamie Miller announced in a call with UBS on Wednesday that PayPal at this time has about 5% of their merchants on the newest integration of PayPal. Now, the reason why that's important is those that are using that are using the newest app and also the newest backend as well, they're able to have a better customer experience that results in a 400 basis points. That's 4% uplift in conversion. And it actually performs even better with mobile than on desktop. Usually, the way this works is when somebody is buying on desktop, they end up checking out with a much higher rate. In fact, let me show you these numbers from Adobe Analytics. They published this. This is from mobile spending over these 5 days. And specifically, last year was the first time that mobile spending was actually above 50% revenue. It was 51.1%. This year, it was 53.1%, and that share continues. And it's not just the total amount of transactions, but of course, the amount that's spent as well is significant. We see it's 53.08% right there. What's interesting is if we look at the conversion rate. So a conversion is when a person gets on the website, does it actually result in a sell? And for desktop, you can see that that continues to climb. It actually reached 7% on Cyber Monday. And on mobile, it was 4.6. That is improving. But you can see that this purple bar, mobile, always tends to lag. And that's the case not just for Cyber 5, but it just always does. And so PayPal, out of the blue, announces, hey, our newest integrations not only give a 4% better uplift, and you can see where they're at as far as conversion rates there, 7% on desktop, 4.6% on mobile. But they also give a better result and better conversion for mobile than desktop. That's significant. Now, one thing that I was not particularly excited about on that call, Jamie Miller had mentioned that Fastlane specifically. Fastlane's a product, of course, that provides checkout conversion. That's the moment that a customer puts something in their cart, do they actually pay? And Fastlane does help immensely with checkout conversion and improves it just a ridiculous amount. I think it's actually best in class for guest checkout. And it's something that they launched in August and they're scaling it out through a lot of distribution channels and partners. It's going to take a while to do that. And they mentioned specifically when they launched it that any merchant or any user of Fastlane is not going to pay any extra for that. They can just use it free of charge. What does PayPal get out of that for now? Well, anytime that there's an extra conversion and they can increase that conversion rate by almost double of what it was versus a non-guest checkout solution over standard solution. As a result, maybe that customer doesn't use Braintree and they don't use PayPal, they don't use Venmo, they use somebody else. PayPal doesn't get anything out of that, but for whatever percent they're already using PayPal, Venmo, or Braintree, that's just more volume for PayPal. So they benefit some from it. But the interesting thing is when they mentioned this launch, they said that at some point in the future they would be monetizing it. In other words, this may be an other value-added service that they pay for, or they pay a certain percent on the transaction that will, of course, improve PayPal's revenue and improve PayPal's margin. However, that's not the case in the near term. We thought next year perhaps that might be the case. And so Jamie Miller was asked about this. And so specifically in the call, and this is from Yevgengis from his side, he recorded this. Jamie Miller said, we haven't turned on pricing yet, and we don't expect to, probably for much of 2025. Absolutely, when you get into conversations, it is bundled in different ways, in some cases with some of the big players that we might be co-partnering with. It's more of a rev share agreement. In other words, it's actually priced individually per total payment volume that flows through it. And so the bottom line is basically, she says it'll get scaled in 2025, actually late 2025. And so for those of us that were counting on Fastlane being monetized and adding to revenue in 2025 and being in the Q4 guidance that's issued, that's probably not going to be the case. And this is actually a good thing if you're a long-term PayPal shareholder. This is a product that's a winner take most. They have network effects. And so the more people that sign up with Fastlane, the easier it is for PayPal to say, hey, we're going to go to a merchant and say, we have this many clients signed up with Fastlane. Some use PayPal, some do not. These are the results we're having. They'll look at that body of data and be like, sold, give us Fastlane. And in the future, they may be selling that. For right now, though, they're just trying to grow that as big as possible. It doesn't really cost them. It's not going to be a monetary drag, or at least not much of one. There's a little bit of a marketing spin there, but not much realistically. You just can't count on this product to increase revenue or increase margins much in 2025. It will again, just because it increases that total payment volume, and some of that goes PayPal's way. So that was a little bit of a drag on an otherwise really phenomenal call. Of course, Jamie Miller also mentioned that their Q4 numbers were coming actually better than in line, which is no great surprise given what they posted for the Cyber 5 days. And so overall, still very, very exciting times to be in PayPal. They posted great numbers so far. I can't wait to see what those are in Q4. It seems like they're beginning to fire on all cylinders, although some things like the advertising platform, a video that I'll link below if you want to learn more about that, which is going to be massive for PayPal in about 2 years, and Fastlane as well, are just beginning to ramp up, and we just can't count on them much for a lot of revenue, at least for the first couple of quarters in 2025. So what do you think? Was there anything else that stood out to you on those numbers that Alex, Chris, or Jamie Miller shared? Are you continuing to hold or add to PayPal? I personally am, but you do you. And for now, happy investing.